Do you remember Ray Kroc? He didn't actually start McDonald's. He just bought their systems and processes and figured out how to grow it. Even Elon Musk, I don't know if this story is true, you can look it up, but there's stories behind Elon where he actually bought Tesla from somebody else and ended up growing it to his own. Even Bill Gates started by buying someone else's technology to start Microsoft. Hi, what's up everybody? My name's Tony Javier and I'm the owner of an Inc. 5000 rated real estate investment company. And I've been in business for 24 years now and currently own several businesses. And what I'd like to do in this video is to help you figure out whether it's easier to buy a business or to start a business from scratch. I'm hoping this video will save you a lot of time and money and help you make the right decision without wasting precious time and resources. So let's dive in and see which path might be right for you. First, we're going to start with starting a business. Now, when most people think of starting a business, they imagine starting from the ground up. That's how many people get into the game. And here's the thing. Starting a business always doesn't require a big upfront investment. You can create a product or service, and if you're smart, you can start selling it with little to no cost. So let me give you an example. Let's take my latest media company. I didn't spend a lot of money up front. I actually reached out to 10 people I knew that could afford TV commercials, and I offered them a deal. For a discounted price, I'll do TV commercials for you as a test using my formula and my media buyers. And what they did was they paid me up front for all of my services. We implemented the TV commercials for them, and boom, I was profitable on literally day one. So fast forward 4 years later, and now this business is generating millions in revenue. And here's the kicker. It doesn't take a lot of my time anymore. This is what I call a dream business. It's not every day that a business takes off like this that quickly and becomes that successful, but it can happen if you have the right approach. So I start with that to get you a little bit excited and show you what it could be like starting a business. But of course, not all businesses are like that. Let me give you an example of a complete opposite experience that I have starting a business. So I started funding down payments for real estate investors. I would basically lend money up front for real estate investors for their down payments so they could do deals. And here's what happened. I made a lot of mistakes early on. I had to invest hundreds of thousands of dollars into these projects, so very big cash injection up front, all with the hopes of big returns when these investors paid me back. But here's the reality. Things didn't go as planned. A lot of deals fell through. We had to take properties back. We had to sell them. We had to renovate them before that. And it was just a huge headache for years. Even after I decided to stop the business, it was still 2 years after that that I was still cleaning up deals. In fact, I had to hire someone full time just to take this on. So not only was it my time, it was someone else I had to pay. It was an extra money. And really, it was just the headache of it. It was me not being able to focus on things that I wanted to do and having to focus on something that I was cleaning up. So what I had pictured in my head just didn't happen, which unfortunately is what happens with most entrepreneurs. So with that example, purchasing a business might seem like the easier path, but is it really? Let's find out. So let's start with the pros and cons of each one, of buying a business compared to starting a business. Let's start with the pros of buying a business. So if you buy a business, you have an established brand, you have a customer base when you buy the business, you're purchasing the brand already that's already has a brand, it has a reputation, and it has customers that are familiar with the business. And the company may have a loyal following. So you don't have to worry about building the brand, you don't have to worry about attracting the customers. It's a huge head start. So number two, you have operational systems in place. This is one of the biggest advantages of buying an existing business is that operational systems are already there, from employee procedures to inventory management and supplier relationships. These systems help you hit the ground running, so that way you don't have to develop them from scratch. Pro number three is cash flow from day one. Hopefully the business is profitable and you can start earning revenue immediately. Unlike starting from scratch, where you may need to invest some time before seeing any returns, buying a business with a stable income stream allows you to start generating profit from day one. Pro number four of buying a business is access to funding. With an existing business, lenders tend to be willing to offer financing if you are established and have proven financials. A successful track record reassures investors and banks, making securing funding easier than starting from scratch. But of course, buying a business isn't without challenges. So let's talk about the cons of buying a business. So number one is typically you're going to have a high upfront cost. The price of purchasing an existing business can be significant, especially if it's already profitable. This means a large initial investment, which can be hard to manage without proper financing. Don't forget, there are ways to get into these deals with no money down, and I'll cover that in a future video. Number 2, you can inherit problems. When you buy a business, you inherit its problems too, whether that's legal issues, customer complaints, or financial troubles. And these issues might not be immediately obvious, and they could surface later after the purchase, costing you time, money, and energy to fix it. So there are some unknowns here. Con number 3 is less flexibility than an established business, because with a current business comes pre-existing processes, culture, and expectations. If you're someone who thrives on flexibility and creating your own way of doing things, you might find these constraints a little frustrating. It's just going to take more time if you try and put your spin, your culture, and your things in place that you want to from an existing business. So con number 4 is transition risk. The success of a business depends heavily on the previous owner's reputation, the relationships, and the leadership. A poor transition can lead to a loss of customers, suppliers, or even key employees, creating significant risks after purchase. Think about it. This is the reason that you're buying the business, and if those things go away, you could be really stuck in a predicament. Now let's talk about starting a business from scratch. While it can be intimidating, this path offers opportunities that buying a business maybe doesn't. So pro number 1 is creative control. One of the biggest advantages of starting a business from the ground up is complete creative control. You get to shape the business how you want it, you can envision it, you can brand the company the way you want it, you can do the culture the way you want it, and you can offer the products and services that you want to the way you want to. Number 2 is lower initial investment. Depending on the type of business, starting from scratch may require a smaller financial investment, kind of like what I told you with my media company. You can scale gradually, you can invest money when you want to, and avoid taking on large debt or relying on outside financing. Number 3 is flexibility and adaptability. Starting a business means you can be more agile. You have the freedom to change direction, you can pivot, you can adapt your business model as needed without the constraints of pre-existing systems or structures. Number 4 is building something unique. There's something truly fulfilling about building a business from the ground up. I look at my businesses sometimes and I'm really grateful of what I created and really think to myself, wow, I actually created these businesses. You too can create something innovative, new, and have the satisfaction of knowing that your business is your own creation. But as I showed you an example before, starting a business is not all sunshine and rainbows. So let's talk about the cons of starting a business. So number 1 is time to reach profitability. Building a business takes time. From developing a product or service to attracting customers, there's often a significant delay before you start seeing profitability. From the time you think of the idea to start getting customers, it just takes time. You'll likely need a cushion of savings or some kind of investments to survive in the early stages if you don't have other income coming in. Number 2 is high risk. New businesses face an incredibly high failure rate, particularly in the first few years. Without the established customer base and financial history that a purchase business offers, the risk of failure is a lot higher. I think the statistics show that 95% of businesses that start out do not make it past year 5. Con number 3 is operational challenges. You'll have to build everything from the ground up. That includes setting up processes, hiring employees, creating a brand, and handling marketing. Now, if you've done it before, it might be easier to recreate it. But this can be very overwhelming if you have never done it and requires significant effort to establish all systems. These are all necessary to run a successful business. So number 4 is uncertainty. Starting a new business means navigating a lot of uncertainty. You might have to deal with fluctuating cash flow, market demand issues, ongoing changes in customer preferences, and just a lot of other things. There are no guarantees for success. So which path is right for you? It really depends on your goals, it depends on your experience, and it depends on what you prefer. If you want more control and you are comfortable with the risk, starting a business might be your best option. If you're looking for a quicker entry point with a more established foundation, buying an existing business could be the better choice. Ultimately, the decision is yours, and there's no one-size-fits-all answer. Both paths offer incredible opportunities, but you must weigh the pros and cons based on your unique situation. If you look at some of the most successful businesses in the world, some of them started from scratch and some of them bought businesses. For instance, you remember Ray Kroc, he didn't actually start McDonald's, he just bought their systems and processes and figured out how to grow it. Even Elon Musk, I don't know if this story is true, you can look it up, but there's stories behind Elon where he actually bought Tesla from somebody else and ended up growing it to his own. Even Bill Gates started by buying someone else's technology to start Microsoft. So again, there's no right or wrong answer. It depends on what you want, what you value, and your unique skills. If you feel like you have the grind, the grit, the skills to start a new business, that's the way to do it. But if you're someone that really lacks that, you may want to look at buying an existing business. We hope this video helped you clarify the pros and cons of buying a business versus starting one. Whatever you do, remember that every business comes with its challenges, but it also has a lot of rewards. Best of luck. And if you like that video, you're definitely going to like this one. And remember, if you want to stay connected, go to tonyjavier.com/connect. See you on the next video.